There's a deeply embedded belief, both in gym culture and popular health advice, that building muscle is just about lifting heavy and eating more protein. And while those things matter, they barely scratch the surface of what actually drives muscular growth, strength gains, and faster recovery. Here's something surprising. A 2020 study in Cell Metabolism found that the timing of resistance training, particularly how it aligns with your circadian rhythm, can significantly influence muscle hypertrophy and strength development. In other words, when you train may matter almost as much as how you train. Even more compelling, research from McMaster University shows that the neurological adaptations driving early strength gains occur before any visible changes in muscle size. Strength begins in the brain, in motor cortex excitation, synaptic efficiency, and the rewiring of movement patterns. Why does this matter? Because muscle isn't just about aesthetics. It's a critical endocrine organ. It helps regulate insulin sensitivity, reduces systemic inflammation, and even protects brain health by producing myokines, molecules released during contraction that influence cognition, mood, and neuroplasticity. In short, when you build muscle, you're building a better brain, stronger immune function, and more resilient mental health, not just a better body. But here's the challenge. Most people train with incomplete strategies. They overlook sleep timing, fail to align nutrition with anabolic windows, and don't understand the role of nervous system regulation in recovery. So today we're going deeper. In this episode, we'll uncover 6 breakthrough insights backed by neuroscience and physiology that can radically improve how you train, recover, and grow, how to use neurological priming to increase strength before you even lift, why training at certain times of day may double your hypertrophy response, the truth about overtraining, and how to spot early neurological fatigue, simple nutrition timing strategies that maximize anabolic signaling, how sleep architecture controls muscle recovery and how to improve it, and what active recovery really is, plus how to use it to accelerate gains. By the end, you'll walk away with a blueprint, a set of simple science-based tools you can start using today to train smarter, recover faster, and grow stronger in every sense of the word. Let's get into it. Before a single pound of muscle is built, something else must change: your brain. Most people associate strength with the size of their muscles, but early stage strength gains have almost nothing to do with hypertrophy. Instead, they're driven by changes in your nervous system. Your brain gets better at telling your muscles what to do. This is known as neural adaptation, and it's one of the most overlooked levers in training. A classic study published in the Journal of Applied Physiology showed that subjects gained significant strength within just 2 weeks of training, without measurable increases in muscle size. What changed? The motor cortex began firing more efficiently. Neurons activated more synchronously, and inhibitory signals, which prevent full force generation, were reduced. Put simply, your brain learned how to lift before your body grew stronger. Here's what's happening in your brain when this occurs. The motor cortex, the region responsible for voluntary movement, sends signals down the spinal cord to motor units, bundles of muscle fibers innervated by a single neuron. The more motor units you can recruit and the faster you can fire them, the stronger you become. This is called rate coding, and it's trainable. But here's the key. This system needs to be primed. Imagine showing up to a big presentation with no warm-up, no rehearsal, and no cue that it's about to begin. That's how most people treat their nervous system before lifting. They jump into heavy sets without engaging the brain that powers those muscles. So how do you prime your nervous system? A simple tool to apply is neural activation drills. Short, explosive movements that wake up the motor cortex and enhance. These could include low-load plyometrics like jump squats or pogo hops, just 2 to 3 sets of 3-5 reps. Dynamic resistance band pulls to activate shoulder and hip stabilizers, e.g. pushing against an immovable object. To increase intramuscular tension awareness. All of these are neurologically demanding without being fatiguing. They signal to your brain it's time to perform. Another powerful method, visualization. Studies from the Cleveland Clinic have shown that mentally rehearsing a movement activates many of the same brain areas as physically performing it. When subjects imagined contracting a muscle with intensity for 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week, they increased strength by over 13%. without any physical training. This isn't just placebo. It's your brain strengthening synaptic connections in motor pathways. Here's a 2-minute protocol you can try before your next lift. Breathwork reset. 30 seconds of nasal breathing to downshift the nervous system. Visualization. 30 seconds imagining your upcoming compound lift with intensity. Neural drill. 2 sets of light, explosive movement, jump squats, banded rows, etc. First working set. Now your nervous system is primed. Your lifts will feel more explosive. Have you ever noticed how your first set sometimes feels off? Like your body hasn't caught up to your mind? That's a sign your brain wasn't fully online. This protocol bridges that gap, and the benefits go beyond performance. A primed nervous system enhances coordination, reduces injury risk, and even increases your capacity to push through physical discomfort because your perception of effort is mediated in the brain. In fact, what we think of as fatigue often begins centrally, not in the muscle, but in the brain's evaluation of how hard something feels. If you can shift that threshold just a little by activating your nervous system, you'll lift more, recover better, and progress faster. So before you touch a barbell or pick up a dumbbell, ask yourself, have you trained your brain to lead the lift? Strength isn't just built in the gym. It's built in the nervous system, one signal, one repetition, one primed pattern at a time. When you train may be just as important as how you train. It turns out your body isn't a machine operating at the same level every hour of the day. It's a dynamic system governed by circadian rhythms, internal biological clocks that influence hormones, temperature, reaction time, pain threshold, and yes, muscular performance. Here's what the research shows. A study in Chronobiology International found that resistance training in the late afternoon or early evening often leads to greater strength gains and muscle hypertrophy compared to training in the morning. The reasons: better neuromuscular coordination, elevated core body temperature, and higher levels of circulating testosterone and growth hormone. Let's break that down. Your core body temperature peaks between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. This doesn't just keep you warm, it enhances enzyme activity, increases muscle pliability, and improves reaction time. That means your muscles are more elastic, your nervous system is more responsive, and you're less prone to injury during this window. Hormonal rhythms also matter. Testosterone, which plays a central role in muscle protein synthesis, fluctuates throughout the day. While total levels are typically higher in the morning, the free bioavailable testosterone, what actually binds to muscle receptors, may be more active later in the day when cortisol, the stress hormone, has dropped. So despite the early testosterone spike, afternoon sessions often offer a better anabolic environment with less physiological stress. But what if you can't train at that ideal time? Here's the good news. Performance is also a trainable circadian trait. That means if you consistently train at 8 a.m., your body begins to anticipate that demand, shifting hormonal peaks, temperature rhythms, and nervous system readiness to support it. This is known as entrainment. So the key isn't to chase a perfect training time, it's to pick a consistent one and align your life around it. That builds reliability into your biology. Here's a simple protocol. Track your energy and focus for 1 week. Note when you feel most alert, strongest, and mentally on. Align training with your personal peak, ideally within 90 minutes of this energy zone. Anchor it with light and food. Train shortly after natural light exposure and a balanced meal to signal the body it's go time. Stick with it for 3-4 weeks and let your nervous system adapt. This isn't just theoretical. A 2016 study in Frontiers in Physiology found that athletes who trained consistently at the same time of day improved performance more rapidly than those with inconsistent training times, regardless of whether they were morning or evening sessions. And you might be wondering, what about shift workers, night owls, or people with unpredictable schedules? That's where pre-training cues come in. If your circadian rhythm is out of sync, you can still trick your body into preparing for performance. Exposure to bright light, ingesting a small amount of caffeine, and doing a short, explosive warm-up can acutely shift your physiological readiness, mimicking some of the benefits of peak performance windows. And if this level of detail is helping you train more intelligently, consider subscribing. We break down the science behind your performance every week, no fluff, just facts and tools you can apply. Here's the bottom line. Your body is not a static machine. It's a rhythmic, responsive system. Training at the right time for your biology can lead to faster strength gains, more efficient recovery, and a lower risk of injury. But even more powerful than the perfect time is the consistent time, one your brain and body come to expect and prepare for daily. So if you want to train smarter, don't just plan your workouts, schedule them in sync with your biology. Most people think of overtraining as a muscular problem, sore quads, aching shoulders, fatigue in the joints. But here's the deeper truth. Long before your muscles break down, your nervous system starts to tap out. Tissue is robust. It can handle eccentric damage, lactic acid buildup, and metabolic stress. What's far more sensitive and far more predictive of performance breakdown is your central nervous system, CNS. And when the CNS is taxed, everything suffers. Reaction time, strength output, mood, sleep quality, even motivation to train. Let's look at what's actually happening. Your CNS is the command center for every voluntary movement. It governs motor unit recruitment, how many muscle fibers fire, coordinates muscular contraction, regulates your stress response via the HPA axis, and manages mental energy, what's sometimes called neural drive. When you lift heavy, sprint, or perform explosive movements, the CNS ramps up massively. That's what makes these sessions so effective and also so taxing. Now, here's the key insight. The CNS takes longer to recover than your muscles do. In a 2015 study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research, researchers found that while muscle soreness and power output returned to baseline within 48 hours after a heavy squat session, CNS markers like grip strength, vertical jump, and perceived exertion were still impaired for up to 72 hours, 96 hours. This means that just because your legs feel okay doesn't mean your nervous system is ready to push again. So how do you know when it's your CNS, not your muscles, that needs rest? There are a few telltale signs. You feel mentally foggy or unmotivated before training. Weights that normally feel manageable now feel unusually heavy. Your reaction time or coordination feels off. You experience disturbed sleep or elevated morning heart rate. You feel emotionally flat, not exhausted, just disengaged. These are neurological red flags, signals that your command center is asking for downtime. And here's the good news. You can monitor and manage your CNS load with a few simple tools. Track morning grip strength. Use a handheld dynamometer or a simple bathroom scale. Grip strength is a surprisingly accurate indicator of nervous system fatigue. If it drops more than 5% from your baseline, you may need a deload day. Measure vertical jump height. A quick 3-jump average taken daily gives insight into neural explosiveness. If you're flat or slow off the ground, that's CNS, not just muscle. Check heart rate variability, HRV. Apps like Whoop or Aura track HRV, a key marker of parasympathetic tone. If your HRV is chronically low, your body is stuck in fight or flight mode, and recovery is impaired. Subjective readiness rating. Each morning ask, do I feel focused, strong, and mentally engaged? If not, it may be time to switch to active recovery or a lower intensity session. Let me be clear. Training hard is essential, but recovery is where the gains happen. And recovery isn't just about your muscles. It's about your nervous system getting back online. One protocol you can try is the high-low model. Alternating days of high CNS demand, heavy lifting, sprints with low intensity work, zone 2 cardio, mobility, light skill work. This keeps you moving without draining your neural reserves. Another key practice is parasympathetic training, things like deep breathing, cold exposure, or even simply walking in nature. These activate your vagus nerve and support nervous system recovery from the inside out. Here's something to reflect on. Have you ever pushed through a week of training because your body felt fine, but your performance dropped anyway? That's a CNS overload in action. If you respect the nervous system, you don't just avoid burnout, you unlock a whole new level of sustainable strength, energy, and growth. Train hard, recover intelligently. And remember, your brain controls the output, not your biceps. When it comes to building muscle and improving strength, what you eat absolutely matters. But when you eat, especially around training, can amplify or blunt your body's ability to grow and recover. This is what scientists refer to as nutrient timing. And while it's often overhyped in fitness circles, when applied correctly, it can be a powerful lever for optimizing muscle protein synthesis, MPS, glycogen replenishment, and hormonal support. Here's what the research shows. After resistance training, your muscles become significantly more sensitive to nutrients, especially amino acids and carbohydrates. This creates what's known as the anabolic window, a period lasting roughly 4 to 6 hours post-exercise, where your body is primed to shuttle nutrients into muscle tissue and stimulate repair and growth. A meta-analysis published in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition found that consuming 20-40 grams of high-quality protein within 1 to 2 hours after resistance training reliably increases muscle protein synthesis, especially in novice or intermediate lifters. But here's what's more important than a narrow 30-minute window: total daily protein intake and even distribution across meals. Your muscles can only synthesize so much protein at once. That threshold is around 0.4 nanopoint 6 of protein per kg of body weight per meal, spaced across 3-4 feedings per day. This steady stream keeps MPS elevated throughout the day. Let's break this into a real-world protocol. Pre-workout, 1-2 hours before training, consume a small meal with 20-30 G protein, whey, eggs, lean meat or plant protein, 20-50 G carbs, fruit, oats, rice, or sourdough. Why? Carbs elevate insulin slightly, which, while not required, helps shuttle amino acids into muscle and reduce muscle breakdown during training. Post-workout, within 2 hours post-training, consume 20-40 G complete protein, 4,100 G carbs, depending on workout volume. Example, a protein shake with banana and oats, or grilled chicken with rice and vegetables. This replenishes muscle glycogen, reduces cortisol, and flips the switch into recovery mode. Now, what's happening in your brain and body during this time? Exercise increases insulin sensitivity in muscle tissue and enhances amino acid transporters. These are like molecular doors that open wider after training. Your mTOR pathway, the cellular engine for muscle growth, is activated by both mechanical tension and amino acid availability. Feeding protein during this window keeps that growth signal strong. And while protein gets all the attention, carbohydrates post-training are underrated. They replenish glycogen, lower cortisol, and may improve sleep when consumed in the evening, which in turn enhances overnight recovery. Another often missed piece is evening nutrition. Research in Neuroscience found that pre-sleep casein protein, 30-40 G, improves overnight MPS and recovery. This is especially helpful for people training later in the day or looking to maximize muscle retention during fat loss. So does that mean you need to obsess over meal timing? Not at all. But intentional structure beats randomness. If these tools are helping you train and eat with more purpose, hit that like button and subscribe. We're building a community of people optimizing performance with science, and you belong here. Let's zoom out. Food isn't just fuel, it's information, telling your cells what to do, when to recover, and how to grow. When you combine resistance training with well-timed nutrition, you create an environment where your brain, muscles, and hormones work with you, not against you. And that's when results compound. If you're doing everything right in the gym, lifting with intensity, fueling properly, progressing intelligently, but still not seeing the results you expect, the missing link may not be your training or nutrition, it's your sleep. Here's something that surprises many people. The vast majority of muscle recovery and growth happens during deep sleep, not while you're at the gym or drinking a post-workout shake. And the mechanism isn't just physical, it's neurological and hormonal. Let's unpack what's going on during the first few hours of sleep, specifically in slow wave sleep, SWS, or what's commonly called deep sleep. Your brain initiates a powerful repair and rebuild phase. This is when the pituitary gland secretes growth hormone, GH, in pulses, which drives tissue repair, fat metabolism, and muscle protein synthesis. In fact, up to 70% of your daily growth hormone is secreted during deep sleep. And any disruption to that phase dramatically impacts your recovery and strength gains. A 2011 study in the Journal of Applied Physiology found that sleep restriction, even just 4-5 hours per night, reduced muscle protein synthesis by over 20%, impaired glycogen resynthesis, and elevated cortisol, the stress hormone that breaks down muscle tissue. So the takeaway is this: you're not just recovering during sleep, you're building strength and resilience because of sleep. But let's go deeper, because sleep is more than just shutting down. What's happening in your brain during this time is just as crucial as what's happening in your body during deep sleep. Synaptic pruning occurs, improving motor learning and coordination. The glymphatic system clears metabolic waste, including excess cortisol and inflammatory byproducts from training. Neurotransmitter levels, like dopamine and serotonin, are replenished, which enhances motivation, mood, and focus the next day. In short, sleep is when your body grows and your brain resets. Skip it, and you're not just tired, you're under-recovered, under-adapted, and underperforming. So, how do we optimize this recovery window? Here's a science-backed evening routine that promotes deep sleep and enhances overnight muscle growth. 1. Wind down with light and temperature control, 60 to 90 minutes before bed. Dim lights, reduce overhead bulbs, and limit blue light from screens. Lower your core body temperature by taking a warm shower or bath. Paradoxically, this helps cool the brain. Your bedroom temperature to 60-67 DFF, 15 to 19 DDC. Cooler environments promote deeper sleep. 2. Avoid heavy meals and alcohol before bed. Eating large meals or drinking alcohol within 1-2 hours of sleep delays deep sleep and increases nighttime awakenings. If needed, opt for a light protein-rich snack like Greek yogurt or casein shake to support MPS without digestive disruption. 3. Implement a sleep buffer zone, 30-60 minutes. Work, news, social media. Engage in parasympathetic promoting activities, reading, journaling, deep breathing, or light stretching. Try non-sleep deep rest, NSDR, protocols or guided body scans to transition the nervous system into recovery mode. 4. Go to bed and wake up at consistent times. Your circadian rhythm is like an internal clock tied to hormone release and recovery. Consistency locks in your brain's ability to secrete growth hormone and testosterone at optimal times, both crucial for muscle growth. 5. Get early morning sunlight. This one starts the night before. Morning sunlight within 60 minutes of waking anchors your body clock, improving nighttime melatonin secretion and sleep depth. Let's be honest. It's tempting to stay up late scrolling, watching, or winding down. But every time you compromise sleep, you're not just stealing rest, you're stealing progress. If you want to train like an athlete, you have to recover like one. If this resonates, drop a comment below. What's one sleep habit you're working to improve? And don't forget to subscribe. We dive deeper into tools like NSDR and circadian optimization in upcoming episodes. When you treat sleep as a growth protocol, not just downtime, you'll begin to see your training results accelerate, not just in the mirror, but in your energy, focus, and life performance. One of the most underutilized performance enhancers doesn't come from a supplement or a training app. It's built into your nervous system. And when used deliberately, it can transform how you build muscle and move through the world. It's called the mind-muscle connection, the ability to consciously engage and contract specific muscles during resistance training. And while it might sound like a bodybuilding cliche, there's robust neuroscience to support it. Let's explore what's happening in your brain. When you lift a weight, your brain initiates a motor command that travels down your spinal cord and out to the muscles. But this isn't automatic. Your level of cortical involvement, or how focused your brain is on the movement, changes the quality and outcome of the contraction. In a 2018 study published in the European Journal of Sports Science, participants who used internal focus cues, like squeeze the biceps, experienced significantly greater muscle activation measured via EMG than those simply moving the weight. Over time, this leads to increased mechanical tension, one of the key drivers of hypertrophy. And a 2021 study in Frontiers in Sports and Active Living found that when trained lifters used internal focus on specific muscles during resistance training, they saw greater gains in muscle size, especially in isolation movements, compared to those using an external focus, move the ball. So what does this mean practically? It means that your attention shapes your results. Simply going through the motions, lifting, lowering, checking your phone between sets, robs you of some of the neurological adaptations that amplify growth. Here's a practical analogy. Think of your brain like a spotlight. Wherever it shines, activation increases. The more you concentrate on a specific muscle group during a lift, the more motor units are recruited and the deeper the adaptation. Let's translate that into a real-world protocol you can apply today. Mind muscle training protocol 1. Set the intention before the set. Before lifting, ask, which muscle am I trying to stimulate? This primes the premotor cortex, your brain's movement planning area. 2, use slow, controlled tempo. Fast reps can blur focus. Try a 3-1-1 tempo, 3 seconds eccentric, lowering 1 second, pause at stretch 1. Second concentric, lifting. This pace enhances neural feedback, letting you feel the target muscle more fully. 3, use tactile feedback if safe. Lightly tap or touch the muscle you're training between sets. This activates proprioceptive pathways, your body's internal map, and increases neural drive. 4, visualize the contraction. Between sets, close your eyes and mentally rehearse the muscle contracting under load. This engages the motor imagery network in your brain, which strengthens neuromuscular coordination even without movement. 5, speak to the muscle. Yes, this might sound odd, but internally cueing yourself with phrases like drive through the heels, squeeze the glutes, stretch the lats, activates the language motor link in your brain, sharpening motor recruitment. Now, let's zoom out. Why does this matter so much? Because in a world of distractions, earbuds in, screen in front, attention scattered, intentional presence is the most powerful training tool you have. By focusing inward, by connecting your mind to the muscle, you reinforce a neural circuit that gets stronger every time you use it. And this doesn't just benefit your physique. People who train with higher interoceptive awareness, the ability to feel what's happening inside their bodies, also tend to have better emotional regulation, lower injury risk, and improved movement longevity. Your brain doesn't compartmentalize physical awareness from emotional awareness. They reinforce each other. So when you step into the gym, or even just do a set of push-ups at home, ask yourself, am I just moving weight, or am I cultivating mastery of my own body? If you've made it this far, you're not just someone who wants to work out. You're someone who wants to understand, to train not just harder, but smarter, to connect the dots between what's happening in your muscles, your brain, and your life. Let's briefly recap the science-backed strategies we explored. Progressive overload, stressing the muscle gradually is essential to trigger growth. That is not just about lifting heavier. It's about challenging your muscles across volume, time under tension, and range of motion. Nutritional timing and protein intake. Muscle is built from the amino acids you feed it. Getting 1.6, 2.2 g of protein per kilogram of body weight evenly spaced throughout the day activates muscle protein synthesis and enhances adaptation. Train close to failure with intent. Effort matters. Working within 1-3 reps of technical failure, especially on your final sets, recruits the high threshold motor units that stimulate growth. Leverage compound movements in periodized training. Build your foundation with squats, deadlifts, rows, presses. Then layer in progression across cycles, not just weeks, to keep improving without burnout. Optimize sleep for hormone balance and recovery. Deep sleep isn't just rest, it's the arena where growth hormone pulses, muscle tissue repairs, and your nervous system resets. Guard it like your results depend on it, because they do. Cultivate the mind-muscle connection. Your attention is anabolic. The more precisely you focus on the muscle, the more deeply you recruit fibers, fire motor neurons, and reinforce neural pathways that translate to real-world strength. Each of these tools is backed by peer-reviewed research, tested by elite performers, and most importantly, accessible to you. But here's the bigger picture. Building muscle and increasing strength isn't just about aesthetics or gym numbers. It's about ownership. Ownership over your habits, ownership over your recovery, ownership over the way your brain and body interact to shape your experience of life. When you lift something heavy with focus and intention, your brain is learning something profound. I can do hard things. I can adapt. I can grow. That lesson doesn't stay in the weight room. It carries into how you show up in your relationships, in your work, in your emotional resilience. Muscle isn't just tissue, it's capacity, it's energy, it's stored potential. And when you develop it with integrity, it fuels not just performance, but presence. So here's your challenge. Pick one tool from this episode, just one. Maybe it's eating 30 grams of protein within 90 minutes of training. Maybe it's dimming your lights an hour before bed. Maybe it's locking in your mind during your next set of rows. Whichever you choose, do it today not perfectly, just deliberately, because small actions applied consistently with understanding create exponential change. And if this journey resonated with you, if you value science, intention, and real transformation, then consider joining this community. Like, comment, and subscribe so we can keep diving deeper together. Every week, we unpack the neuroscience of high performance, mental clarity, recovery, and vitality, and translate it into tools that work in the real world. The work is not always easy, but it is always worth it. And it starts now with one decision, one rep, one night of better sleep, one deeper breath during your next lift. Your body is listening, so is your brain. Train both and watch your life transform. If this episode has helped you reconnect with your training in a deeper way, consider subscribing. Our goal is to bridge science and embodiment so you can train smarter, recover faster, and live better. Your muscles respond to tension, but they grow under intention.